Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. That's Kevin, and guess what? We're alone here, man. We even stood up. Did you go to prom?
I never did. I was kind of an anti-prom kind of guy.
You see, this has never happened to us at all. We've never been stood up
No,
before.
first time.
I never, you know what, Kevin, I never went to high school. So,
Oh, wow. That explains a lot, Scott.
yeah. When I was 14, my dad decided he wanted to retire, move on to a sailboat, right? And sail the Caribbean with me, him, my mom, and my kid brother. And so it was the four of us sailing the Caribbean. And, the whole idea of going to high school and asking a girl out, and I never did any of that stuff.
Well, you probably got a very different education doing that, maybe a better one.
Yeah, well, we sailed by, this is before anybody had GPS, right? We had a sextant, so we had to learn how to navigate by celestial navigation using the position of Polaris, and to get north, and then where the sun is at a certain time. We had to learn on the go, just like we're doing right now. We're learning to go on the fly. No, we had a similar experience, actually, when the great Nad Sylvan had horrible Wi-Fi. But I promise you, little kiddies, I promise you that the invitation has been it's been placed, and the link has been sent. So I apologize that they are not here right now. So hopefully I'll reach out to the promoter that set this up. But in the meantime, we are talking about Crown Lands, right? A little bit today, whether they show up or not. That was the
plan.
Yeah, we're gonna. I'm sure they'll be here. Their people are probably telling them right now, "Oh my God, you're missing out on a program you're supposed to be on." But that's okay. One thing that I always forget about is that, I on a regular type of episode, you want to get right to the topic right away. And sometimes I rush the live show a little bit, right? We don't need to go right into it. It's a live stream. We can breathe a little bit and let let the audience creep in a little bit. To wit, I am going to announce the rest of our Sunday live stream schedule that we have set up. Correct me if I'm wrong about any of this, but next week, boys and girls, I'm really excited about what we have next week. And I promise they'll be here next. Our guests will definitely be here next week. We've got Frederick and Patrick from Ritual. Oh, yeah, for the very first time ever, the Hemulic Voluntary Band, available on vinyl, the 2007 masterpiece that I think is one of the greatest records of the 21st century. Absolutely love it. Finally on vinyl. These guys had my favorite album, 2025 or 2024. What year are we in? I'm a little discombobulated, man. I've never been stood up before. Ian's asking, where's Crown Lands? I'm sure they'll be here, right? I'm sure they'll be here. We'll just see. I don't know what's going on. They're rock stars.
They're
right,
fashionably late. Assuming they could be having technical problems. They're in Canada. Do they even have Wi-Fi in Canada? It's a little spotty, we know. So
they could be out on some retreat or something. Have you heard these dual EPs, Ritual 1 and Ritual 2? Not really like anything else the band has ever put out. Ritual 1, and then there's Ritual 2. They're going to be doing it as a dual EP, a double vinyl set that's available in October. The day Scott Lade discovered Crown Lands is AI. What's Zeb talking about?
The day Scott Lade discovered Crown Lands is
AI. So there is no Crown Lands.
Hey, there's Kevin's. Look, he's trying to show up.
Yeah, Kevin's here. We'll try to get him on in a minute. I think what Zeb is trying to allude to is that they really don't exist, right? Geez. Kevin and Cody are like mirages, and all their shows, there's holographic images of them being presented, and the music's all piped in. They're not real people, man, because there's no way two people, right? You've seen the videos of these cats live.
Oh yeah.
Come on, man. How did two
If you
people
if
do
you
all
just
that?
saw the pictures, maybe, because those are two absolutely beautiful men.
Yeah.
But you see the videos, that's for real.
Maybe Kevin's audio only. Let me try to bring him up and see what we get. Kevin, are you there? Can you hear us?
Hello, yes, I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Ah, we absolutely can. How are you, man? Good to have
Good,
you
man.
on the
Thank
show.
you. Thank you. I want to contribute to the mystery. Maybe I am a hologram. Who knows?
Uh, I think he is. I think he absolutely is. And, even furthermore, Kevin, I was thinking about having Cody on the show so that we would have a Cody, Kevin, and Kevin, but that would have been too much for my primitive caveman mind to handle. Kevin, where are you calling us from right now? Where are you at?
I'm calling from Uxbridge, Ontario. So that's
Mm,
like, I want to say like an hour north of Toronto.
beautiful,
Where
beautiful.
where where are you guys?
Kevin's in Florida, right, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm in Florida. Scott's in Ohio.
I'm in a secret, undisclosed location, way in the middle of nowhere in Ohio, where no one can find me, so that my terrible takes on prog rock don't land me in too much hot water with the villagers with pitchforks and torches coming at me in the middle of the night. Uh, Plus, the wife likes a certain degree of anonymity, but yeah, we live in what I like to refer to as BFE, Ohio. It's kind of nice. Farmland everywhere.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. But we're here to talk about crown lands and wow, what a left turn. Did you want to like freak people out, Kevin? Was that your whole idea? Was just to, like, slap people in the face saying you think you know who we are, but you don't know nothing about crown lands, and slap, here you go, here's ritual one. What was your thinking here? I got to hear it from the horse's mouth, because I adore these, by the way. I think what you're doing here is absolute genius, but I want to hear what your mind state was for these EPs.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, I'm glad that people are being freaked out because that's the whole point of progressive music is to
Thank
go
you.
into new places and challenge people, right? And I think that's the whole point of art. And we didn't necessarily set out to just make another, hard rock prog song. I feel like we really wanted to challenge ourselves to make, progressive, groundbreaking music. And obviously, it still owes a lot to our faves. Like we always are going to wear influences on our sleeves. Just on this one, maybe there's more King Crimson and Vangelis and Mike Oldfield than
Mm.
Rush and yes, and Genesis. But the conception of Ritual One, this went back, guys. Like I want to say before we even had finished Fearless,
Oh,
we
wow.
had actually recorded Ritual One, and it just ended up kind of sitting in escrow for a number of years after we were dealing with just getting out of our record deal with Universal, and it just kind of ended up. We weren't sure if that record was ever even going to see the light of day. And during that time, we wrote, recorded, and mixed Ritual 2. And during that time, we had been also developing the prequel to Starlifter, which I'm very, very excited about. I'm not on camera because I am absolutely beat. I was up till about 4 in the morning working on the prequel slash sequel
Wow.
to
Wow.
Fearless right now, and I'm very, very excited about that. It's, of course, there's going to be a sidelong epic suite in classic Crownlands fashion, and
Mm.
I think it's the most cohesive and coherent sidelong epic we've ever done. I'm really happy about that. But back to the rituals, of course. I don't know. I think we just wanted to make the music that we wanted to make. On Starlifter, we kind of hinted at it on the beginning of the journey, right, where Fearless kind of taps into the ancient wisdom of his people when he's stowing away on the ship to route the syndicate, and that's where you hear the ambient Oberheim synth and Cody playing the North American wooden flute, and we wanted to kind of take that snapshot and expand it, into a full like widescreen Panavision film, right? And that's what we wanted to do with the Ritual. So we wanted to take that small 30-second moment and make an entire record about it.
Yeah.
And we wanted to basically expand the world of Fearless and have a set of records that represented the music of Fearless's people. And it kind of gave us that freedom to write from a different place where there isn't a necessarily a pressure of commercialism and a pressure to be like, okay, well, even though the bridge is going to be in 13/8, the chorus needs to hit at 45 seconds and be a banger, you know?
That's right.
And
that's right.
And we try to balance that in our music of being progressive yet also being commercially appealing, and that's why
it's nice. It's nice if somebody's actually listening to your music, right? It's like, it's like having a YouTube channel, Kevin. It's like, it's absolutely no fun. You can have the best thing going in the world, but if nobody's listening, that just kind of sucks. So maybe the chorus hits at 45 seconds. Who cares?
Well, I mean, it's a tricky thing, man. Again, we're making this kind of music in this day and age, and people don't necessarily have a large attention span, and it's a struggle. But you have to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And I feel artistically that these Rituals, again, like they feel like the most progressive thing we've actually done. Where Fearless really felt like an arrival moment for the band, and we wanted to really see what we could do of like cementing where we are at as a progressive band and not just necessarily another classic rock revivalist band.
And we love that, don't we, Kevin?
Yeah, well, here's something that you might find interesting, Kevin. Before this show, we play an hour of what we call warm-up music for the show. So obviously today we played an hour of Crownland music, and I'm putting the show together. And when we play the music, people can like songs. They can hit the like button as the song's playing. I was pretty surprised when I'm putting the playlist together, and the very first song I put on there was the Celestial Marsh song.
Oh, yeah.
And then the next song I put on there was one of my favorites, was the Citadel, which has been out obviously a long time. So that's been on our station a long time. The Celestial Marsh had more likes than Citadel. So clearly people were not freaked out and not having any problems whatsoever with this new album.
Interesting. Well, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, I like Celestial Marsh a lot. That was actually the first piece we wrote when we were trying to get into the Ritual space. It's kind of... we wrote that before anything else on Ritual 1. And we just couldn't find a place for it on the first record because the first one's a lot more kind of like new age ambient influence. And then obviously the second one, there's a lot more world music. In fact, you can hear, I mean, if you're fans of Peter Gabriel, which I'm sure you guys are,
Who?
It's funny. I told my wife the other day, I was like, man, I'm on a big Peter Gabriel kick lately. She's like, lately? What do you mean? But for real though, lately, just really, from his third solo record, fourth one, so all the way through, the Passion of the Christ soundtrack. Like, there's so much marimba and polyrhythm and just like African world music influence that I'm sure you can hear all over Ritual too. And that largely came from Cody, who ironically is not a Peter Gabriel fan. I think Cody's coming at it more from Fela Kuti and like ton of the world music that Peter was influenced by himself.
Yeah. So Cody and Peter were being influenced by the same artists, basically.
Yeah, like Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. Was a big influence on both Peter and Cody, and I was coming at it from more of like, I love Fripp, I love Eno, I love the ambient pieces that they've made together, and obviously the '80s Crimson with the kind of like Gamelan clean guitar polyrhythm influences there too. Again, we just wanted to flesh out the entire world and show the world that we're not just about aping Rush as much as we love that, and trust me, there's lots and lots and lots of that on the new record. I find it so funny that when we put out Starlifter, we were like, this is it for us. This is our career's over. Fuck it. We're doing exactly what we want. And
Yeah.
our A&R guy at the label at the time, like, there was an understanding that this was going to be the last record we were going to do with Universal. And it all ended fairly cordially, right? But it was just kind of like, it's similar to the 2112 story, but it's not 1976. And when you put out a 20-minute single about outer space, you do get dropped into 2023. And that's okay. But you go out with your boots on. And in fact, we've landed, we're so graciously with the Inside Out team now, which is,
it's a soft. I can't imagine a softer landing, right?
Yeah, we're
you're in good hands. Thomas Weber obviously is very concerned about the artist.
Yeah, Thomas is the best. Freddie is the best there. We're so lucky to be there, and just the fact that they were willing to have these records be the first thing.
Yeah, man, come on. That takes that.
Yeah. But again,
I'm trying to picture Thomas Weber's face when he's like, okay, you know what? First of all, congratulations for signing with Inside Out.
Thank you.
What a soft landing, A. And B, it's kind of nice that you still have major label distribution attached to that, even though you don't have all that hierarchy breathing down your neck. So it's kind of sort of the best of both worlds. So congratulations. But I still wish I had a video on Thomas Weber's face when he listened to Ritual 1 the first. Hey, we finally got Crown Lands, and here's what we're going to be dropping on people. Oh man, that would have been pretty epic. But honestly, Kevin, the Ritual 1 and Ritual 2, I can't think of a recent release that's more prog rock. Honestly, to do what you guys are doing, which is honestly exactly what you want to be doing. That's what prog is, bro. That is prog rock right there. Couple shout outs in the Peanut Gallery. Yes, we got Kiefer in the house. Kiefer will be back for all you haters that don't want him back. He'll be back. Jeff Shilka, always yes. We are going to listen to a track. Well, only if Kevin approves it. Kevin, what do you think about playing some music here today for the little boys and girls on the stream? We've got a couple things queued
Absolutely.
up. We've got something from the new EPs queued up. We've also got a stunning live track for the boys and girls. I say what do you want to do first, Kevin? You're the radio guy.
I think because we've been talking about the new album, I think we should play Celestial Marsh.
Oh, yeah.
Because I love that song.
Oh, man. Okay, boys and girls. Kevin, do you want to set us up a little bit more? You told us a little bit about Celestial Marsh being the very first track that you guys had written for Ritual 2. Anything else to set us up?
Great question. So the idea of Ritual 2 is that it sets up all the different biomes throughout Fearless's home planet. And this is like kind of the grand finale where we reach this incredible kind of like outer space marsh vibe area. And it's just the idea of kind of like connecting the earth and the sky. And hopefully it feels grounded yet also otherworldly.
Nice. I'm ready for it.
Right.
I think the kiddies are going to like this one. I love this one. And when Kevin and I were talking about what might we want to play off these rituals, this was the one we both totally agreed on. So
yeah, and they don't have a music video for it, so there'll be the song with a few little things going on, some pictures of them and whatnot. Here we go.
Cool. I love it. Hey, there was a question in there. Is that a bouzouki? One of the instruments in there? Joseph was asking for a friend.
He's on mute. I don't know if he's trying to.
Maybe he's on mute. I think it might be, actually. I don't know.
Oh, hey. Oh, sorry. I guess I was on mute.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
That's just my Stratocaster, second position, super wiry sound. Just EQ'd to sound
Nice.
like that. Yeah.
Nice. It almost sounds like the old days. I had a Strat and I was trying to get like some kind of sitar or like kind of sound.
Oh yeah.
I ended up putting paper clips down by the at the bridge, just anything to give it like that weird kind of sound. Very, very cool. I love that track. Ritual 1, definitely very stripped down. Ritual 2, you're like building on stuff. You're hearing all these different layers. I read somewhere that the 2 EPs kind of taken together should be considered like world building, like building off of what you've already started with Fearless, setting us up for LP number 3. What can you tell us about how the third full length is going to be in relation to what's come before? Obviously, the whole Fearless thing, Starlifter, and the Rituals 1 and 2. There's a whole lot of different ways we can go with this third album.
Yeah, well, it's a concept record. I can't tell you too much. Fuck it, maybe I can.
Hey.
The idea is that where Starlifter deals with like Fearless Awakening after the events of the Oracle. he basically discovers his entire planet has been destroyed, right, and colonized and terraformed in the name of greed by the Syndicate, right? And they're this like galactic group that has just gone and like pillaged hundreds of planets, seeking power and using Dyson spheres around suns to harness the energy and destroying all life on all the planets of the solar system. So, just to harvest the energy. And, it's a thinly veiled allegory for what's happening, in our planet, right? And the question of that this record tries to answer is, how bad did the planet have to be that the Syndicate formed on for a regular person to want to join?
Okay.
And the idea is, we've got a song called "Foot Soldier of the Syndicate," where it's just like, how does a regular person become radicalized to join a faction that stands for nothing but evil? And again, we've seen what's been happening to our neighbors to the south, and I'm so sorry for you guys of what's going on, but at the same time, and then all of a sudden, and then we have our own sovereignty threatened. So it's
a crazy world we live in, Kevin. Things are heating up, and there is no question that doesn't it feel like we're at some kind of weird inflection point in history? I know every era says that, right? We always say, this now is the time. It's the most important election in our history. We say that every single time, but it does kind of feel like this is an important time in our planet's history, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't that long ago when the word presidential meant cordial, meant something to aspire to. And so, anyways, enough of that. Let's talk about
let's talk about music.
Talk about
I knew I liked Kevin. I knew I'd get along with Kevin just fine. A man of my own heart. Let's move on to music.
So the idea is, right? So we've got a few pieces that deal with like how bad society has to be for these normal people to want to like pick up arms and fight for something that doesn't necessarily actually look out for their own best interests.
Yeah.
And then we have a couple murder ballads about Captain Blackstar, who is the kind of big bad. He's like the fist of the Syndicate, and kind of like a Zurkov character, who was under Stalin's regime. And so this guy basically just goes and destroys other planets as kind of like this general type character. And we wanted to kind of like bring up some allegories to the RCMP, right? Who is like the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and they started their illustrious career as the Northwest Mounted Police, and they were basically the militarized faction, private security for the Canadian railway system, right? And so when Canada built the railways across Western Canada, when Canada was being founded as a country rather than just a set of English colonies, they had to have like a brutal military force to round up the indigenous people.
I didn't know any of this. Kevin, did you know any of this? I didn't. I'm getting a little history lesson here. I knew nothing of that.
And so it's important to remember. Yeah. So like the equivalent of our FBI is the RCMP. And they started as a privatized military.
See, that's the history of it. I know exactly who they are, but I had no idea from whence they came, that they were actually the private arm, the private security of a corporate entity. Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
We have a saying in Canada. Canada is 3 or 4 resource extraction companies standing on top of each other wearing a trench coat. Like that's really it's like the little rascals when they try to go and open up a bank account, and they're all just, but that's literally that's all Canada is, right? And that's why we're called Crown lands, right? Because the idea is that like all Crown land is government regulated land, and it's the old growth forests that are being clear cut for our logging industry. It's where all
the name Crown lands is absolutely genius, because it's as political as you want it to be. It's as deep as you want it to be. You can really dig into the treatment of the First Nations peoples in Canada, and we draw all kinds of equivalencies with how Indigenous Americans were treated here with the reservations and stuff. But it's just crazy. Hey, we lost Kevin. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get him back at some point.
Have you heard Anthony, Project Gemini, his latest album. It's all
Yes.
about this stuff as well.
Yes. Oh, well, looky here. Oh, we almost had him for a second. Look at that. We saw his hair for a second.
You're like, oh, no.
That's all right. I think we can hear you, though, Kevin, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm back, baby.
Okay, good deal. Yes, so anyway, before I forget, I was killing some time in the intro, waiting for Kevin to show up, talking about our upcoming schedule of events. So I'm going to continue with that because Kevin showed up and I kind of lost my mind. But I think it's really interesting that next week's guests are two members of the band Ritual.
No way.
And Roy from the Prog Report, I gave him the schedule of events. She's like, I'm confused. Which date are Crown Lands? Because I had Ritual on both dates. And so we've got Frederick and Patrick from Ritual here next Sunday. I'm super excited. Charisma Records sent me that. It's the Hemulic Voluntary Band on vinyl for the very, very first time. One of my favorite albums of all time. Super excited about that reissue program. And then the following Sunday, August 24th, Kevin, I think you booked this one, right?
I did.
Yes. Green Carnation's in the house. Oh, the Dark Poem. It's a trilogy. Part 1 comes out September something or another. I don't remember the exact date.
22nd, I believe, or something.
Is that it? Have you been listening to this Green Carnation album?
Absolutely. Fantastic.
It's awesome. I love it. And then October 31st, another Inside Out artist makes an appearance here. They should just put me on the payroll, Kevin. They really should. Inside Out should just put me on the payroll. It's the great brand new Italian prog rock jazz fusion duo known as Asymmetric Universe. Have you plugged into these guys?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm really impressed. And then the first Sunday live stream of September 7th. That's my birthday. We're just gonna have fun, Kevin. That's the day I decree we're gonna do the Battle of 1974. We're gonna be talking about
is that in honor of how many candles are gonna be on your cake?
74, no sir. Not quite yet. So that's the upcoming schedule. The Battle of 1974. It's going to be Relayer versus The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway.
Oh
versus
my God.
Pink Crimson Red versus Camel Mirage.
Tough one.
Oh my God.
Tough.
What a year.
Oh man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough. But anyway, I digress, man.
I have a hot take.
I want to hear it now.
If Bruford played drums on Relayer, it would be undoubtedly the greatest Yes record of all time. There would be no shadow of a doubt.
That is so funny because I hear all the time people talking, what if Bruford played on Tails? Well, actually,
it's Relayer, man. Because on Chris Squire's solo
you're
record,
right.
you actually hear Bruford and Maratz pushing into the jazz inflections on Lucky Seven.
No.
And
you
just
were so right.
Rick Wakeman is probably my favorite musician of all time. However, I just feel like Squire, Bruford, Maratz just have a special chemistry on that record, and I would have loved to have heard that fleshed out even more. And I understand, all the love to Alan White, and I think he finally came into his own by Drama, and I think his voice makes sense in that band in that incarnation. And but the man was a session musician and came into a band that his drumming didn't really fit with for Tails and Relayer, in my opinion.
I think you are really onto something with Relayer, man. Oh my gosh, my brain has never connected those dots before, and it really should have because of the Bruford Maratz Squire connection on Fish Out of Water. Bruford and Maratz doing those two duet albums, Flags, and the music for piano and drums. But I never went there because I always thought, well, what if Bruford played on Tails? And I came to the estimation that Alan White was the right guy for Tails. Absolutely he was. The album was weird and long, and Bruford would have gone out of his mind. He lost his mind doing Close to the Edge. There's no way Bruford could have sat through the sessions for Tails. So Alan White was the right guy, but you are so right, man. Imagine Bill Bruford playing on Relayer. Oh, you just blew my mind, Kevin. That's awesome. Yeah. Good call. Good
Yeah,
call.
I feel like, yeah, it would be no doubt. It's funny. Like, it took me a long time to get into Lamb as well. Sorry, this is later, right? I'll talk to you, dude. I'll jump on and talk to you guys about all of those records.
We
But,
should have
but
you on for
the Lamb,
yeah.
Lamb is a special one for me because, like,
Yeah, me too.
it's really. I don't think it actually really. It never properly grabbed me. I think until maybe this year. It's so
Wow.
funny. Where for me, like, it's always been Selling England and Trick of the Tail have been like my number one, number two. Like, and they, depending on the day, they'll switch, right? But
Yeah.
Lamb has never. It just felt a little too lugubrious, and the mix always felt a little cloudy. I never quite got it really until this year, and it's just like I haven't stopped listening to it. It's just something finally clicked where, you know, well, I first got into progressive rock when I was probably like 14, you know, the classic age when people
That's it.
start
13,
hunting,
14, man.
yeah,
That's
when you start
that's
hunting
it.
for, you know, the next thing, right? And it's
Yeah.
grabbed me for the rest of my life, and now I'm 31, and I finally, you know, something finally clicked with me for the Lamb, and it just that is a special.
Have you
special
heard
record.
the new Steve Hackett live that came out a week or so ago that does Lamb?
No, I gotta check it out.
Oh, there's some great versions of the songs on that album.
Oh, amazing. I love Nad Sylvan anyway,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, that's an amazing collection. I love Steve Hackett, and to me, The Lamb is their best album. I don't care what anybody says. I've gone on the record as saying there's only one record in the history of mankind that's better than The Lamb. And that's, of course,
Close to
Tales
the,
from Topographic
Tales, yeah.
Oceans. Of
Oh,
course
wow.
it is. My two favorite albums of all time. And they're both double albums that some people consider bloated, or, man, they would have been better as single albums. I always hear about The Lamb. They ran out of time. They rushed disc 2, sides 3 and 4. We're hurried. They did have a time component definitely going on. You can tell they're not quite as polished as the songs on sides 1 and 2. Kind of adds to the beauty and the charm of The Lamb. It's supposed to be a little dark and dirty and industrial, and, you know, it's not Selling England by the pound. We're a long ways from that idyllic pastoral English garden that you know, was painted.
I think there's maybe
in our
2
minds.
minutes. I think there's maybe 2 minutes of Lamb that I could do without. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're talking about.
want
What
it
songs
all.
you're getting rid of?
I want it all. I want the extended version. I want the live version of The Waiting Room on it. It could have been a triple album. You know, you think about 5-man Genesis. Is it possible for them to be playing too long? They can play forever, and I'm okay, man. That's like magic times, right? If you get
It
back,
is a special lineup, yeah.
yeah,
It's
it
just
is. That will never, ever, ever, ever happen again. And that's the thing. You can never ride the school bus again, right? You can get all those old geezers back 20 or 30 years down the road. It ain't the same, man. Enjoy what you've got while you have it. And what we've got today is Kevin from Crownlands. We need to really celebrate the fact that there is a young band out there getting international acclaim that's not afraid to call themselves prog rock, right? I mean, nothing has irked me more in the last, 40 years or so than people putting out prog rock, but never, ever, ever uttering that filthy, dirty 4-letter word, right? You couldn't say it. Kevin, you were in the business a long time in artist management and stuff like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
You would tell your artists, do not say that 4-letter word when describing your music.
We would go in to recording sessions and we would describe what we wanted to do with the song to make it prog-like, but we would never use that word ever. But we'd say, we want it to meander, we want it really dynamic, we want it interesting, we want it original, but no, yeah, you can't use the word.
No, you really couldn't. I remember when I was 18 years old and I was interviewing for my first job at the record store, right? And I had to tell myself, hide the fact that you like Yes. Hide the fact that you like Genesis. Really play up that you're into Talking Heads and XTC, you know, but don't mention Peter Gabriel or Peter Hamill.
But it's so funny
that.
where you talk about that, right? Like the new wave versus the old, but like history shows that Talking Heads had a hell of a lot in common with the rest of them, you know?
Yeah.
And it's so
Yeah.
interesting where like how a zeitgeist can shift like that, where it's like, I personally think like Stop Making Sense is the greatest concert film of all time. And I mean, what a band! What a band! And again, like Adrian Belew, Fripp, Eno all being in that camp too. And again, when you talk about progressive and like pushing boundaries and like the love of world music and polyrhythms, and again, like, is Security that different from Remain in Light if you think about production, arrangement, songwriting influence? Like, but again, I'm lucky enough to look at all of this, with the benefit of hindsight, whereas for you guys lived it, and I understand that like culturally things were so, like what you listened to defined your social circle. Whereas for me growing up, I guess I was probably the end of the generations that had that before this post-genre world that we live in now. But again, it's just so interesting where a lot of those new wave bands were so proggy and so like genre.
Oh,
like,
they really
pushing,
were. I'm
right?
sorry.
Again,
That's
I love Talking Heads.
Yeah, Talking Heads, XTC, Gang of Four. You can go down a whole long list. Wire. So many bands that were, Stranglers. On and on and on. To me, I don't care. That sounds like prog rock to me. They might have been calling it something else back then, but I latched onto it because Yes, and Genesis and ELP started putting out music that wasn't as good. So I was ready to jump ship. But to my ears, Ultravox, thank you, Kyle. That's
Ultravox
exactly the
so
kind
cool.
of band I was talking about. Ultravox to me sounded extremely prog rock with the Steve Lillywhite production and then the Connie Plank, krautrock feel going on. Both eras, John Fox and Midge era. Just huge fan. I love them. That to me was still prog, but it was tribal though. You couldn't mention certain bands. I was in a punk rock band, Kevin, and there were certain things you just couldn't do or say, or else the skinheads would rush the stage and beat you up. So.
You didn't wear your Dark Side of the Moon T-shirt on stage,
no. Not unless you had "I Hate."
Oh yeah,
written in a Sharpie over the top. Then you're allowed to wear any band T-shirt, but you got to deface it, right? Oh, those were weird times. Now we can look back and just enjoy music. It's a better time, right?
I think it is. I don't know. Like I think it is. I mean,
I think musically it is, but as far as lifestyle and everything, the 70s, man, I'd go back in a heartbeat.
Oh,
yeah,
like,
but
if I was born 30 or 40 years earlier, I would live in I'd be living good. However, what are you gonna do, right? Like, I think it was just an incredible time for art, an incredible time, for the economy, incredible time as far as like world peace, like obviously, ignore the Cold War. But it was a special time in the world, and it was like you guys are so lucky that you lived in that incredible window where all the motorcycles and the cars and the movies and the art and the music and the concert.
I mean, my favorite memory is getting on my little bike, pedaling out to my favorite record store, hitting the import section, looking at all these weird album covers from Gentle Giant and Genesis and that, picking an album strictly because of the album cover, putting it under my little shoulder, pedaling back home, and putting it on and having my mind blown.
It's
just
nothing better than that at all. You know what's almost better than that, though, Kevin? It's living in 2025 where we can bring the whole world together. We can talk to a guy in a band who we both absolutely adore. We're talking about Crown Lands. We got him on our little show here. We can talk to dude. We can listen to some music to it. If you guys don't know Crown Lands, the track that we played earlier perhaps might not be completely representational of their earlier catalog. So maybe we'll play a live track, and we're doing a live track because I do not want to get the gods of both Universal and Sony mad at me at the same time. So let's do a live track and set it up for us. What track do you have queued up, Kevin?
Citadel, which I just love.
Citadel, yes.
I'm a little obsessed with this song. It's a great song.
Let's
it highlights the band Two Cats really well.
Only two guys? No, there's no way. It's a hoax.
Yeah, there's a bass player backstage.
I think so, man.
That whole foot thing he's doing, that's just
I'm
all.
gonna make this full
so.
screen. Let's spot the trickery.
What a melody.
Winter falls upon the sentinels as the warring drums draw ever near. From the hills, the pestilence is coming,
He's an all right singer, huh?
and the blast
Dang.
reveals its fangs.
Yeah, that boy's got pipes.
Our sacred lands endure forever, and they fall upon the city. They saw it anchor to their death.
There we go. Hey, man, that's amazing.
Wow.
What an incredible performance.
Well,
And
thank you so much. That was a fun one.
Kevin, wouldn't it just be easier to hire a bass player, bro? That's got to be a lot of work, man.
I don't know. I don't think my ego could take it.
Right. Oh, man, that's just awesome stuff. I mean, you shouldn't be allowed to play all of that at the same time. It's just not right. And I stand corrected. There's no trickery there. They're playing it live. I no backing tape trickery detected. Not one bit.
We've made sure there's no tracks. I think the closest thing would be like in Starlifter, like you see, like I've like in the Bridge of Citadel is one of my favorite moments. I'm playing Taurus pedals, guitar with my left hand, and then piano with my right hand. It's like it feels like it's my Rick Wakeman moment. I feel like
it's Superman. It's just awesome.
It feels great. But in Starlit, there's like a couple of times like I have to use my left foot to trigger a sequence for my Oberheim synth while using my right foot to play the Taurus pedal. So it's like I have to balance on my heels and make sure I'm hitting both at the right time. And I'm also playing in 15/8 in that part. So it's
in
always
case anybody is counting,
a scary moment. But I think that's the closest thing. But again, Rush would trigger Oberheim sequences.
I was just going to say there was not. Yes, there were plenty of trigger. Getty was triggering a lot. Yeah.
But we try to make sure that even if there's like an 8-bar static sequence that I have to trigger, there's no computers, there's no tracks. It's a fucking old analog synth that
you generated that sound from.
Exactly, and I think that's like the spirit of the band is trying to limit ourselves to the technology we would have had if we were around in 1982. I don't know. It's just what resonates with us. You don't want to see a band and have a bunch of tracks playing. It all depends on the art form, right? Like if you're going to a hip hop show or a pop show, it's about the spectacle.
You expect it, yeah.
Exactly, and it's the art form, right? And so like there's no shade being thrown at artists who use that. However,
absolutely not.
In progressive rock, the only time you want to have tapes being played is if it's like an intro video or an outro video, or like again, no one's going to Yes and be like, well, you didn't bring an entire pastoral, like all the creatures sounds at the beginning and the end of Close to the Edge.
Yeah,
and I'm cool with that being a tape, no problem.
Yeah.
Or the cave drops in the middle of Close, like all good, baby. Or
I was really drunk at the time.
Exactly. Like there's certain use of tapes that like are canon in the progressive rock world. That is, like all good. And we kind of go down that path with the rituals of having all like the nature sounds that like we went into the woods around our studio and recorded all of that. And actually you can hear a little bit of clinking in Celestial Marsh. And that's actually my bolo tie. Cause like I had a field recorder and I was walking around and like the little clinking is just me.
That's great.
My bolo tie like bouncing off myself. But like, stuff like that. Like when we play those pieces live, that will be pre-recorded, and then people will be like, you didn't bring 30 birds and
hey, where are the birds?
I don't know, man. I'm out, but certain things like that, right, I think are acceptable. But there's no way we're because there's playing music and then there's playing to music, and there's no way we're gonna turn around and have clicking tracks going.
No, that doesn't even sound like that's in your DNA, but that's not what the band is all about. Everybody kind of when you're talking about Crown Lands, honestly, the first thing people say is, can you believe that 2 guys do all that? So, yeah, you wouldn't want to monkey with that whole thing.
I mean, my dream is to eventually turn Crown Lands into kind of an 80s Genesis thing where, like, we just need to find our Chester Thompson and Dale Sherman, because
he's in Nashville.
I feel like creatively, it works fairly well with the two of us. It obviously being a duo, it has its challenges because there's no democracy. So it's hard to get certain things over the line if 2 people dig their theater.
Yeah, you better agree on everything or else nothing gets done.
Basically, and that's why things take a long time for us. I find it's hard to get it. It's hard to make sure that everyone feels comfy with the way things move at times. And then it's like, and my workload is crazy. Like I have
No, Kevin was talking about
I
his
do all the
workload.
arranging. I do all of the engineering. I do most of the mixing. I mixed all of Ritual 2. I tracked all of it. I produced all of it. It's a lot. And
Yeah.
Cody has a lot to do too, right? Cody has to do all the drums, all the vocals. It's a difficult thing. And again, when both of us are pulling more than double duty, and but it's the best. I mean, it's our baby. You know,
I
what are you
love
gonna, what are you gonna do? But we have flirted with it. We've jammed with others.
Yeah.
We've had David Barrett, who's an incredible guitar player. He did a lot of work with Platinum Blonde back in the day. He's done a bunch of work with Alex Lifeson and Terry Brown. He's just a great dude. And we have a record coming out that we did with him and Terry Brown, where it's kind of like a project record where it's another instrumental prog fest, but it's like much heavier, much more guitar driven. And that was nice to kind of have, like, experiment with a trio setting, but I played bass the whole time. And it's so
fun.
funny when people tell me, oh, you guys should think about getting a bass player. It's like, bass
Right.
is my first love. Bass is my first instrument. And if I had it my way, I would have a guitar player and I would play bass and keys. That is where I'd rather be. And I think in Cody's case, Cody would rather be a drummer than a vocalist. However, that's not the way the cards have fallen.
No.
Right? Realistically, I think if we were going to have extra members, I would love to have, again, the 80s Genesis thing where we have a full-time drummer, and then Cody can sing, can play flute, can go to their percussion, can go to the drum kit, and go for that full thing. And then I would love to have someone who can do bass, guitar, and keys. And that way I can kind of float with my double necks and my keyboard rig and have someone else who can kind of do whatever else I don't necessarily want to do. But it's a tricky thing, because if you find someone who can do all of that, you'd probably be remiss not to include them as a creative voting member. And it's a tricky thing where, again, we were just signed to Inside Out as a duo.
As a duo,
as us.
Yeah.
And there's a certain thing that comes out when it's just the two of us. A lot.
You know how it is. The image is everything, bro. I mean, you know how it is. You're young and you're only 31. You know the packaging is 9/10 of the game. You got to have a cool name. You got to have a cool image. You got to have a cool
the
look.
elevator pitch has definitely helped us, right? We did that tour with Kiss a couple of years ago, and it definitely, when you can hit a 20,000 seat arena with two people, and when I watch the videos and listen to the tapes, I'm like, okay, sounds like a band. It's not like that's like it's like I'm executing what I want to at a high level. However, bass is my favorite thing ever, and like basically every time I get a switch to the bass side of my double neck, I'm a happy boy. And I love guitar. Don't get me wrong, but if I had it my way, I'd be on bass the whole time. And
so we've got a couple questions from the Peanut Gallery, Kevin. People are asking who is the main lyricist in the band. I'm assuming it's Cody, but
it depends on what the song is. There's been songs like I've penned more, and songs like Cody's penned more.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it's both of us, big time. Like for a lot of the records, like I will conceptualize the movements and like the story plot, and then I'll give it to Cody to kind of like figure out what the melody's going to be, and then Cody will sing gibberish, and then we'll just kind of sit down and kind of springboard off of that and be like, well, this phrase sounds like this, and you're like, oh yes,
that's
again, it's
very Genesis like.
Yeah, very Genesis, or again, very David Byrne.
there you go. Any plans for touring, Kevin? The animals are restless. They probably asked this question 100 times in the chat already. What are the plans going forward to support this, or are you guys going to kind of stay in hibernation until LP3 comes out?
We are. We're not going to be touring until this record comes out. It just doesn't make sense financially, right? Like, well, first of all, America is very protectionist with its work permit laws, and if we just want to cross the border as a band, as a performer, I think it costs us about $7,000 to $8,000 US right now just to get the work permits, and those are temporary. So let's say we have a 1-week tour, it costs us that amount of money to get the permits for it. If we had a year worth of touring booked, that's how much it would cost. But the problem is the exchange rate is just brutal to us, and then America's withholding taxes is brutal, right? So if we're lucky enough to get like, you know, a couple $1,000s a gig, 30% of that gets withheld by the US government. And any merchandise that we bring across the border, we have to pay the tax on before it can even cross the border. Right?
Yeah,
So
as if you
America
sold it all.
America is very anti like anything.
It's rough,
Like,
yeah.
it-
Unless
it-
you're a big giant band, it would be real cost prohibitive. I would
it's
think.
next to impossible.
So
and-
when
and
is
so-
the album planned, do you think?
Early next year.
Okay.
And we'll do a tour, but again, it's basically we're looking at a $20,000 to $30,000 loss every time we cross the border. Every
Right.
time we go to Europe, every time we go to America, even for a 2-week tour, you're looking at a $20,000 to $30,000 loss. And as great as Inside Out is, they are not going to shoulder that, and we are certainly not going to shoulder that ourselves. You know, we were younger, more idealistic right before COVID, and we were touring. Like mad throughout the U.S. Like we basically lived in a van for a couple of years, and we were starting to see all of these gains, and then the world changed dramatically,
Yeah, it did.
and the live music industry hasn't recovered, and I don't think it will. I think we're gonna see if anything, like any of the mid to upper level prog bands, like, or any rock bands, like what you're seeing it now, it's all packages.
Yeah.
It's all you have to basically insulate yourself from the potential losses, and it's so damaging, right? Like the Kiss tour, for instance, Paul got sick and the last 2 shows were canceled, and the merch sales that we lost out on those last 2 shows was basically our profit margin.
Yeah,
right?
just enough to take you out of the black and into the red. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so that was like a large scale tour, but like basically any band that you see on tour, the second last show is usually the break even point, and the last
Yeah.
show is the profit
Yeah.
margin.
Yeah.
You're lucky to see 10% net on a tour. Like,
Yep.
and that's if you have a tour manager who's fucking doing it and crunching the numbers. And guess what? In addition to everything else I do, I also tour manage the band.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, you
So-
needed another hat to wear.
Yeah, so when you're looking, you're looking at these giant numbers in and out every night, like it can make your head spin, and it's truly a balancing act, and that's why you're seeing the entire live music industry being bought out by Live Nation, and they're buying
Right.
out all of this real estate because during COVID they realized, oh, if we can postpone this show and this tour for 5 years, and people just won't ask for refunds for these large arena scale and stadium scale tours. Think of the billions and billions of dollars that is sitting in Live Nation's account. And so they're taking that money and moving around and buying up all this real estate and building stadiums, like the Rogers Stadium in Downsview Park in Toronto, right? Where that's going to be open for a couple of years. A couple Taylor Swift tours going to come through. That Oasis tour is coming through, and then they're going to tear that stadium down, and they're going to sell that to developers, right? And
Yeah.
so the billions of dollars in there, right? And so we're seeing that artists at that level can at least leverage that and have a tour bought out in advance by Live Nation for like multi-million dollars, and then they can take that money and invest that and like float and deal and like hopefully take that, and that will be their nest egg if they miss out on a show or two, and then their profit margin is gone, right?
And-
so that's why we're
and
seeing
yet-
3, 4, 5 bands touring together, playing the 5-year, the 10-year, the 15-year anniversary of this record, and that's the only way that people are actually coming out to shows. People are not actually coming out to see the 500 to 1,000 cap room shows anymore, right? Because
Yeah,
people
it's a
can't
tough
really
market. You're
justify
right.
spending a couple $100 to go out to a show at that level, right? And
So
people don't have
why
the expendable income
why do you want to even be in this business, man?
because we're fucked. Like I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking about, how do I make a 20-minute song about the battle between good and evil, or like how do we figure this out? And it's just in my head, and how do you get it out? And I think David Bowie said it really well. When you started making art, it's like you trying to figure out your place in the world and how you fit in with it, and like it's you reflecting the world through your own filter. And for us, like, we just want to see more music that is grand, and more music that tells a story, and more music that gives us the feeling that Xanadu gave me when I was 14 years old, and I just want to make sure that the next generation is going to feel that too. And I know how
Yeah.
we talk about the nostalgia and everything, but like I'm trying to look forward where I really believe in music education, and I wouldn't, again, without public school music, I wouldn't have been able to have honed my chops, day in, day out at school to I was finally able to, be here and doing music full time.
That's right.
And
Keep
making
the
sure
arts
that,
alive in the public school systems. Don't, here in the U.S., when the local
God.
school districts start getting a little bit low on cash, or that levy didn't pass at the latest election, the first thing that goes is the music teacher. The second thing that goes is the art teacher. It ain't right.
Yeah. Well, here, I'm going through the comments right now. Let's see if we've got any questions. So, but yeah, like I think music education is so important, and just making music is so important. And the next generation needs to carry the torch, right? And we're so lucky where, like, we've met Alex, we've met Getty, they've kind of given us like the nod of approval to kind of keep that torch going as far as Canadian prog goes, and like working with Nick Raskulinitz, Bottrell Terry, like it's just, we're so blessed to be where we're at, and so lucky to be able to be like, again, we're in our early 30s and we're somehow not working real jobs and making concept records.
That's awesome.
And we're figuring it out. But again, like touring, like again, 5 years ago, the whole story of the music industry is streaming does not make money, but you could sell records, and you could sell records at shows, and touring makes money because of the merch sales.
The merch, yeah.
And again, like the economy post-COVID, like people, the culture post-COVID, people don't go out to shows anymore.
Yeah.
People, like, you're seeing tours like getting pulled down all the time because ticket sales are not what they were. People aren't going out and drinking, and the problem was the live music industry was propped up by alcohol sales, and people are finally realizing it's like, oh, wait a second, like this drug is actually not that great. And we're it's just the way that like 20 years ago when people finally were like, hang on a sec, maybe cigarettes aren't all that, and we're seeing like a whole paradigm shift happening in the world about alcohol. And
I hope you're right about that.
And we've made
That'd
a
be
mistake of building the entire fucking live music industry around alcohol sales.
Yeah.
Especially for our music.
there too.
Like now that weed is legal in Canada for the last 5 years, like we need to have like cannabis infused drinks available for consumption in bars, because it's like the people that come out to our shows,
right?
That's perfect. Come
right.
to the laser show and enjoy a cannabis infused drink, and I feel like that's kind of more the vibe, I
love it. But you do definitely present one of the biggest challenges that promoters have going forward. Artists, promoters, that is the state of the live live concert attendance is way down, and we're not just even talking about small names, we're talking about big name artists have had to cancel tours because of lack of interest in ticket sales. So it is definitely a problem, but we don't like to think about problems around here. We like to talk about solutions, and the solutions are in our hands.
Solutions that we're trying, like one, well, you've seen it, is like we find that the band lives the best on YouTube, right? Like the live performance video that you showed, and it's almost like our circus act. It's like our elevator pitch is like, yes, we're trying to sound like Gates of Delirium, yes, but with two people. Or we're trying to sound like Pharaoh the King's Era Rush with two people. And, trying to push that and like take that like grand storytelling progressive rock and people think, oh, White Stripes, Black Keys, love those. Not exactly what we're going for, right?
No, not
that's
exactly.
Why we're trying to, like I find like the visual component is like there's a certain majesty that comes out when the two of us are like locked in and doing our thing, and we've tried to represent that as well as we can with these live performance videos, and that seems to be where we've actually garnered the most attention and the most success. That, and again, touring is so precarious because someone gets a cold, one show goes down, you're fucked. We've been there so many times. That happened to us. We toured with Greta Van Fleet. Love those guys. Poor Josh got an ear infection. We were stranded in New Mexico with $500 to our name because like our because that like Greta Van Fleet's merch manager was handling our merch as well. And as soon as that tour went down, that guy got on a plane with like 10 grand of our money because again, we were floating it because we were going to meet up with them in Texas the next day and get the money and pay off some debt. And
that never happened though, did it?
Floating, right? And then the guy just had to get on a plane and get to the next gig. And so we had to call him and be like, and so we were literally stranded in New Mexico for a day or two waiting for some checks to clear from the promoters. It was crazy. But again, that's touring.
Yeah, exactly. It's life of being a rock and roll star, man. You know, all you kiddies out there, you know, dreaming about being a rock star. It's not always, as fun as you think it is. In fact, most of the time, it's just boring.
Hey, Kevin, if you ever do want to hire a awesome drummer in Canada that does prog, we know the guy, but there's one big problem. His name's also Cody.
Yeah, that is a problem.
So that ain't going to work.
Yeah, Cody was just at the Rush Fest Toronto, which, you know, let's be honest, that's the only Rush Fest that matters, playing drums in a Rush tribute band. So, yeah, we thought about having Cody on board today, but that just would have been too much. Like I said, too much for my brain to handle. Anyway, Kevin, man, thank you so much for joining us today. Kevin Comeau from Crown Lands, brand new EPs, like 2 EPs, battling EPs, Ritual 1, Ritual 2. Ritual 1's available on streaming right now. Ritual 2's out and about too. The two combined, they're combining them as a double vinyl, double record. I think it's on like blue vinyl or something really beautiful. That comes out, I think, October 5th on Inside Out. Kevin, thank you so much. What are you going to be doing with the rest of your day today?
I'm in recovery mode again. I was up till like 3 or 4 in the morning, like working on this music for you guys. So I'm really excited to see what happens with this. But that's basically it. I might go see if I can convince the wife to let me go on the ride on my motorcycle and get some inspiration and just keep working on this sidelong concept piece. But guys,
I can't wait, man.
I promise you it's the best thing we've ever done. It's gonna make Starlifter seem tame in comparison. I think it really is like the most cohesive like piece of music we've ever made. Like I'm just so proud of it. I've taken it's everything that we love about music kind of distilled into 19 and a half minutes of prog. So
those are big words because Starlifter, absolutely amazing. You know, we love our sidelong epics. So and my audience is the same exact way. We look at the long form songwriting is really the epitome, the apex, the pinnacle, the absolute tip top of the prog rock art form. Is expressed in the long form songwriting. If you can't do it, you're not really a progger, right? No, that's
exactly.
Not Gentle Giant. Gentle Giant.
Yeah, they had an album's worth of ideas in 1 3-minute song.
Exactly. So they're immune. They're exempt from the rule. But anyway, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. Kevin, what's going on at Prog Radio these days? Anything new and exciting?
The one thing I'll mention is not this coming Friday, but a week from Friday, we got a new series that we're going to be starting called Can You Dig It? And you can see our panel there. Ian, who we love, Matt Brandt, myself, Matt. Tara, Cody, of course. And we're going to bring 10 songs. And we're going to each play them. We're actually going to play the whole song, and then everybody's going to give it so many shovels on how much they dig it. And so the goal is to find and you lose points if the other panelists knew the song. So you're trying to find some obscure stuff, whether it's old obscure or brand new that nobody's heard yet, but that everybody's still going to dig, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. That's a very cool concept. Next week, boys and girls, you know, we do this live stream each and every week, every single Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. And yeah, next week, it's one of my favorite bands of all time, Sweden's Ritual. They are reissuing the Hemulic Voluntary Band on Charisma Records. I'm so excited I can barely even control myself or contain myself. Yes, it contains a sidelong epic. Yes, it does. The Dangerous Journey. It's only 26 and a half minutes long. You know, we love our sidelong epics. Oh, anyway, boys and girls, I love you. Peace in the Middle East. free the Ukraine, free Norway, free your mind, free beer, free Willie, free the crown lands. Oh, and God save the king. We're dancing with snakes today, boys and girls. Look out. We're dancing with them snakes in honor of the First Nations. Oh, yeah. They're going to bite you. Oh, they're going to bite me. Oh, no. I'll see you guys. Peace.